Let's go right back to the start. I remember seeing you play to 400 or 500 people just as the debut album was coming out. You were a musical and sexual whirlwind that swept through these clubs in Britain. Do you have much recollection of that time, of your career? Any vivid memories of just how many male and female members in your early crowds wanted to sleep with you? How much that album actually meant to so many people so quickly?
Well, you know, at the beginning of my career is kind of like what people who went through the 60s describe. You know, if you had a really, really good time, you don't really remember the 60s. And it's all a really, really big blur for me to a great degree. You know, I would really, really like to point out that it wasn't really that kind of hysteria wasn't really something that I kind of set out to do. I was just trying to find an identity, really, and trying to find an identity in public. And somewhere along the way, it started to gel, and then we started getting these reactions, and I was quite astounded by them, you know, most of the time. But being a young, you know, 22-year-old kid who just, you know, got a record deal, just wanted to dive into the big shark pool, you know, of rock and roll, and certainly did, you know, hence the blur.
Honesty's always played a big role, whether it be that overt honesty of the first album, whether it be right through to now. In interviews, you're always very honest as well. Is there anything where you've thought to yourself, that quote's haunted me, or that's something I wish I hadn't said? Absolutely,
yeah. You know, if I'm to be honest with you, I said a lot of things in interviews which most people in bands would only sort of say to their mates down the pub, you know, but because this was kind of, you know, a vehicle for me to sort of express myself. I just all of this stuff kind of came out. Looking back, if I could change anything, I would probably talk less, you know, about things that are salacious and just really sort of concentrate on the music.
So was there almost a stage where a reviewer or an interviewer had to get over you before they could get their head around the music?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think there was a point where we became serious caricatures of ourselves, and we needed to sort of, you know, take reality checks to sort of reacquaint ourselves with who we were.
There's one quote, Bran, that you said that it will always haunt me. It's not on any cards. Well, it's as a fan.
People in the know will know which quote you're talking about, and like it's amazing. You know, it involves bodily fluids. I think.
That's the one.
Two different coloured bodily fluids. I mean, it's amazing what you can say in passing to a journalist an hour after the interview is over in a pub, you know, just as a passing comment, and how it will haunt you for the rest of your life.
See, I'm surprised.
And it led me to remember that the tape recorder is never off.
No.
It's all part of the myth-making process, isn't it? You know, and so a little bit of myth-making's not too bad.
Thinking less about grabbing headlines in interviews, does that come from a personal happiness in your own life, being somewhere where
I think it comes
music
from,
maybe isn't the be-all and end-all?
If you really, really want it to be about the music, then it can be, you know? And that if you have much, much more confidence in what you're doing musically, then you don't need to fill the empty spaces with all of this headline grabbing. But it worked, man. It really, really worked, you know, but you can't be that person that you were at the age of 33 that you were at the age of 23, you know, and I certainly don't want to be.
But you said yourself, this is the darkest record you've made.
Yeah.
Both musically and lyrically, it's less mechanical.
Absolutely. I mean, that comes from, I think, it's a record that sort of cuts through all the nonsense. It doesn't have the gimmicks. It's not trying to grab your attention. It's just really just trying to tell it like it is from my point of view, or from the... You write about what you know, but it's still a fiction, you know? I write about the emotions or the situations that perhaps I've experienced at a certain time, but... You know, I create characters and write stories about them, you know, to express certain things. But I really, really do think it just kind of... It's not trying to be anything else than it is. It's just trying to be itself. And I feel quite... I can take a deep breath and sort of relax now when I think about it.
Well, listen, keep wearing the nice jackets.
Thank you.
It's certainly... well, it's not... You've made this look like an old fucking rag compared to now you've worn that, I have to be honest, but thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Nothing to fear whatsoever. If you're interviewing Bran over the next couple of months, don't worry. Nothing to fear at all. He's a complete pet lamb. We're going to play out tonight, not with a track from the new album Meds, but they said I could pick a classic. So the end of 4 Music presents Placebo has to be Nancy Boy.
Looking out for number one, different partner every night. So not narcotic, out of sight. What a guess, what a beautiful ass. And it all breaks down, the role reversal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, spinning me round, she's coming over me. And it all breaks down, the first rehearsal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, she's coming over me. Hey, kind of buzz lasts for days. Had some help from insect ways. Comes across all shine coy, just another Nancy boy. Woman, man, a modern monkey, just another happy junkie. 50-pound, press my button, going down. And it all breaks down, the role reversal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, spinning me round, she's coming over me. And it all breaks down, the first rehearsal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, she's coming over me. Hey, hey. Makeup in his room, douse himself with cheap perfume. Eye holes in a paper bag, greatest lay I ever had. Kind of guy who mates for life, gotta help him find a wife. We're a couple when our bodies double. And it all breaks down, the role reversal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, spinning me round, she's coming over me. Hey, hey, and it all breaks down, the first rehearsal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, she's coming over me. Hey, hey. It all breaks down, the role reversal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, spinning me round, she's coming over me. Breaks down, the first rehearsal. Got the music in my head, she's universal, she's coming over me, she's coming over me.